Nobody knew what that was except for Opalyn and Alan. I got lots of questions, but luckily she gave me the video. Who watched the video?
There was a video?
Which video?
I didn't want to ruin it.
There's like 5 videos that are out about this.
The way you would have gotten this link is if you had read your welcome email and joined the Telegram group, you would have seen.
There was a welcome email?
Yeah.
And the attached.
Amy didn't get it because you didn't give me her email until 2 days ago. Yeah. So anyway, Opalyn Brenger is somebody I met through Self-Reliance Festival. First time I met her, she drove up and giggled as she was undoing her tent. She was so happy. And I like being around happy people. Something that you can do to help yourself keep your mental health going is choose who you expose yourself to. And Opal is definitely one of those people that I like to choose who I expose myself to. And that sounds wrong.
No judgment zone. No judgment zone.
You do you. That explains why you
So, if you've been wondering what an Estufa Finca is, it's not that. Anyway, it's a way of cooking food with wood cleanly so you don't expose your lungs to a bunch of pathogens by cooking with wood. And the byproduct is biochar. And we talked last year a lot about ways to use biochar in improving your soil health and how awesome it is. And if you want to talk more about that, there are several people here who talk about biochar, including Jack, who's doing this for some reason.
I didn't bring my glasses.
Oh, okay. You want
I
mine?
can read that now.
Are you far or nearsighted?
Yes.
Okay. I have readers if you want.
No, that won't.
They have cute little cat shapes. No, okay.
Yes.
Anyway, I'm going to hand it over to you to talk to us about what an Estufa Finca is. And then we're going to dive into the build. The way the build will go, she's starting it this morning. We're going to have a break. And then we go to the second session, which I believe is Carrie talking about rehabilitating pasture through grazing. And she will be deciding when she's doing the rest of the build and how that's going. If you decide what I want to do is just hang out and build the Estufa Finca and shine off Carrie's session, that's on you.
I'll deal with you later.
Yeah. Okay, let's
Well, thank you. It's a privilege to be here to share some of what I know about biochar. Like Nicole said, this is an Estufa Finca. It is a project that was put in place in Costa Rica, so I'll talk a little bit more about that. It is 2 5-gallon buckets. You can see one of them here with a heat shield / heat transfer corrugated metal. And so, yeah, 3 billion people. That is the number of people in the world who cook over an open fire. Wow. Over 4 billion people die every year from those injuries. Woo, that's really hard for me to say. And that's a 2010 statistic. I don't have a newer statistic. This is, yeah, I already said that. So again, you know, a couple of 5-gallon buckets, a couple of pieces of rebar, some dowels, some hardware, and a piece of roofing. And we're going to transform that into a unit that will combust all of those smoke. You've all experienced it, sat around a campfire and the smoke comes at you. Well, those are unburnt carbon compounds that mess up your lungs, mess with your eyes, and gasification units are designed to burn those. And so your output is carbon, dye, and water. And no carbon mon, no hydrogen, all of those gases that are combustible are burnt in this unit. So I have a short video. Let's see if, yeah, there it is. Not that one. That one. I know. I'm just going to play a minute of it, though.
Fire is a gift. It helps us prepare our food, warm our homes, light our way in the dark.
Close to 3 billion people in the world rely on an open fire to cook their daily food. This results in 4.3 million people a year dying from respiratory disease associated with breathing that smoke. CCHAR's mission is to develop positive tools for clean cooking. The Estufa Finca stove is an incredibly unique type of biomass cook stove. It reinvents fire in order to create clean energy and build healthy soils. We burn the smoke before it leaves the chimney. Instead of leaving a pile of ash, we leave a high-quality charcoal, which can be sold or reinvested into the environment. Meeting the challenge of respiratory disease is about creating lasting change. The beautiful and unique flame created by the Estufa Finca cook stove is the new kind of fire lighting our way into a more sustainable relationship to energy.
The Great Energy Challenge.
So that was Art Donnelly. He was the creator of this. And so there's plans. Actually, there's a photo journal workbook that I created the build out of. So all I had was a set of photos. But here's what happens. We have some natural airflow, like convective heat likes to rise. So we've got a natural updraft. We'll have holes in the bottom. And it'll go through our biochar with the flame on top, and heat radiates in all directions, but air likes to flow up when it's warm. So we'll be pyrolyzing and burning to charcoal here. So this unit is a little bit, the metal's a bit protected from the extreme heat temperatures by the biomass. So we're not lighting a fire on the bottom of this and burning out our bucket right away. We're lighting a fire on the top, and that lets the heat radiate and create our biochar and a really nice cooking gas out the top. So gasification is a thermochemical process. So when you light a fire and your wood's really wet, you have to heat it up and drive off all that water. Then it enters several other stages before we get to see the combustion reaction, which is what we all want to see. So gasification is one of those steps. And it is transforming the wood into biochar. That's why you have embers. So at the bottom of your campfire, you've got a glowing bed of charcoal, and that's your biochar. If you quench it or smother it, you've got biochar right there. But often we burn our campfires to ash. And a lot of things are slash wood piles, lots of things could be managed in other ways, producing a lot of really good quality biochar. So again, the flames are at the top, and the unit has a natural airflow that comes up through the bottom and goes on. So how do we make biochar? There's kilns available that you can purchase for $3,000 to $10,000 to $100,000 that will help you make biochar. There is a conservation burn pile. This is a pile I managed that was 7 foot wide, 4 foot deep, and about 4 foot tall. You line your larger diameter small logs, larger branches, so that you limit the amount of air that can get in there. While this was burning, we put another pile that was 7 foot by 4 foot by 4 foot into this flame. When this flame gets high, you add more wood and you bring the flame down to a safer level. So we burnt twice this volume of wood and ended up with over 100 gallons of biochar for a half a day's work. Now, the wood was already cut. The tree had already been damaged by Hurricane Helene. And so they did a lot of prep work. But the day of this burn, building this pile from bare ground, and lighting it and quenching it was about a half a day's work. So that's the second type. This is called a conservation burn pile. There's lots of gasification units that will help you make biochar. There's one out of Berkeley, California that I've been a part of their organization, All Power Labs. They've transferred into make instead of, for a while their focus was biochar. Now it's power. Your backyard charcoal grill. You can manage the airflow and make a small amount of biochar in that. You can use a retort, which is as simple as an empty paint can from the hardware store with a dozen holes punched in the top. You put your wood inside and you set that in your wood stove, and no air can get in there. The combustible gases will come out. It looks like you have a special magic birthday cake in the middle of your fire. While it's burning, when the flames go out, it's done. So you can pull that out of your wood stove and let it cool, and you've got some nice biochar. These are some smaller projects, the dome school stove and the bubble stove. There's information available online, and I have more information if you want to build them. These are small, like school kid type projects that if you want to introduce other people to them, that is some of the options. So here's what we're going to build. So we've got 2 5-gallon buckets. We're going to remove the handles. We're going to drill 16 holes around the diameter for our secondary airflow. In one of our buckets, we're going to punch a bunch of holes in the bottom so that we get that primary airflow up through the firewood. We're going to convert a lid with a number 10 can. We're going to pop rivet those two things together, and we're going to add some handles. So with these items and some small hardware parts, you have a biochar production stove at the 5-gallon size scale. So
how much biochar will that make?
you'll have 1 to 2 gallons.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jack. It depends. Like if you're cooking your dinner on it, you can cook like a 3-gallon pot of rice over this. So if you need to use those to cook your dinner, by all means, cook your dinner before you quench it. You fill it with about 3 gallons of wood, 3 to 3.5 gallons of wood. So one gallon is pretty reliable. 2 is probably a stretch. And it depends on the diameter of your wood. So you want to use the smaller than wrist size wood if you're cutting up limbs and branchy material from your yard.
Particular types of wood, like hardwood, pine, doesn't matter.
Can it be green or does it have to be seasoned?
It needs to be about 15 to 20%. Otherwise, you'll expend a lot of your energy drying your wood. If it's too wet, just like campfire, it doesn't want to burn. If it's too dry, it also doesn't want to burn. So somebody had a question before you, or did you put your hand down?
No, I put my hand down.
Okay, great.
I was wondering if this scales sequentially. So can you do the same thing and essentially just bring the measurements up for like a 55-gallon drum, or do you have to do it differently?
Good question. I would probably do a different design. But that's because I know about a whole bunch of different designs. And if you need 100 gallons of wood chips, if you have a spare room and will feed me dinner, I will come and help you manage a conservation burn pile on your yard with no extra outlay of cash for a kiln that you're going to use 1 week a year. If a community wants to buy it, the Ring of Fire, I have experience with that device as well. It is a fabulous piece of technology, and it's fairly easy to store because it comes apart into 6 pieces of metal. Depending on this, she has 2 sizes. So I studied biochar with Kelpie Wilson, and she is out of Oregon, and she has built the Ring of Fire in particular. That's one of the kilns that's available. It's modular. She says it can fit in the back of a Subaru. Nothing else can fit in the back of the Subaru, and it will smell like fire. So let's put it on a trailer just for everybody's lung health. But that one you do have to quench and rake out. So with the same with this one, we spent almost an hour quenching and raking this out. An hour of water flowing from a hose. Like that's how hot this gets. But every time you let these embers turn white, they're still burning and turning your stuff to ash. So quench it and keep quenching it. Rake it out so that there's not a hot spot. We raked it out, and none of that grass that we raked into got burned. Very little of the soil where we had the pile got damaged because we had all that wood underneath protecting the ground from the heat of the fire because we started at the top. This particular fire, we could see more visible flame than we could see visible smoke at every turn. We had less than 1 minute of a plume of visible smoke while we were lighting it. And the rest of those fumes, carbon, mon, hydrogen, all of those tarry bits that make you cough and hurt your eyeballs were burnt. So this is probably my favorite way to do it. If you have enough space.
You said you got 100 gallons of...
We got about 100 gallons of biochar.
And you had a hose running for an hour, so probably 100 gallons of water. So not crazy amounts of water.
Yeah.
You can do a T-load with 55s, but you're not going to cook on it.
Right.
It's going to look like a freaking F-15.
Yeah. It's a different design. It's no longer a cooking stove at a 55-gallon size.
What is
It's very contained.
Estufa Finca like? What's
Um,
what does that look like?
This is my first build, but this is this portion of the bucket. This is a second bucket. So there's a whole bucket behind this heat shield. And this bucket, you cut 4 inches off the bottom, and that raises up your cook stove so it has an even distribution of heat. Because there's that little chimney out of the number 10 can right in the center of this. So that's a really concentrated heat. Or this will spread it out and give you this rebar cook stove where you can like set a grate or put a pot like right on that.
So can you cook like a steak on a grate, or
Yeah.
will the grease affect?
I mean, it'll go down there and get burned. Yeah. It's not going to affect your biochar. Yeah. So this technically will make you biochar or non-activated biochar. You have to inoculate it with the good bacteria before you put it in your soil. Otherwise, it'll take quite a while for the microbes to get established and move in. But biochar, I'm sure Jack told you last year, is great housing for your soil microbes. So for people who are transitioning away from chemical agriculture, biochar is the way to move in that army that you need to take care of all your plants.
You can use a compost tea, correct?
Aerated compost tea, a compost extract, absolutely. Kelpie Wilson loves to put 5 gallons in every compost pile and just let it be in the compost pile for 6 months before she puts it out on her field. And she's been doing that for a decade. And
5 to 7% by weight.
yep. And she does not have the black soils that we see, the terra preta soils that we see in the Amazon. So they're not that black yet. So she hasn't overdone it by any means. So, yes,
Is there
Margo.
an actual minimum time you should activate? Leave your charcoal, leave your biochar in something to activate it?
I don't submerge my biochar. Well, there's 2 ways that I know of that work really well. You micronize it, you turn it into a very fine powder, and then it becomes part of the liquid slurry that gets put out on the land. The other way is you wet it I don't submerge it, I don't let it stay in a solution because then it can go anaerobic and that will create the wrong bacteria for your goals. Yeah. Get it wet with a good bacteriologically active solution and put it in your soil. Yeah.
What we do is we just throw a 5-gallon bucket of it in our coop every time we got a layer for deep litter.
Yep.
And then when you make your compost, it's done.
It's already there.
Do anything else? It's all.
It's amazing for rabbits because it'll collect all of that ammonia. Yeah. So by the time we can smell ammonia, there's already lung damage happening to your rabbits. So putting it in any litter that you're under your animal bedding, the animals tend to be healthier. There's less of the bacteria that you don't want your animals exposed to in the area. And it's great for human nervous systems too. So,
Chickens and pigs straight eat it.
yep.
The beauty of all that is then you don't have to, it's inoculated.
Right. Then it's auto-inoculated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your chickens, do you put it in your coop with your wood chips?
Yep.
Or?
When there's divots and holes, like, they made a dust bath, or if there was an issue that you thought there was a rat hole or something, I would grab uninoculated stuff and fill the hole. And the chickens would go, dig it up again, and eat a whole bunch of it.
They move it around.
So, there's no biochar here. It's like, yeah, it's all in one of these chickens. We'll have to bring back some more. And that's the only excuse I have for why it disappears. Like, they eat it.
Yeah. Cows.
Their food, they'll pick it out.
Yeah.
Like, and eat it separately because they want it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So free feeding it to certain species is really great. Cows love it. It reduces a lot of the problematic agricultural issue with cows and methane and all of those things. So it makes them healthier. It gets inoculated in their waste stream. It gets distributed over the land that they're mowing for you. Yeah, a lot of animals will selectively eat it, and they'll eat it when they need it.
There's now peer-reviewed science on the reduction of methane production from cows by feeding them the appropriate amount of biochar.
And in some places, it's illegal to feed them biochar.
Yeah.
So it is a dye for your cattle feed. Sorry.
Why is it illegal?
Because it works.
Yeah.
And it doesn't cost thousands of dollars per gram.
Because they're trying to kill out the cattle industry, so they don't want you to do that because that defeats their purpose of killing out the cattle.
Right. So if you just go and have a biochar burn and let your cattle have access to it, the cows got into it. I didn't.
I don't know.
Right.
It's only illegal if you get caught.
You know, critters will get into it. Right. Thank you, Jack. Yeah. Are we ready to go build?
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to meet outside, and we're going to start building.
Was that a fun meet?
That's military tools right there. Simple solutions to complex problems will not be tolerated.
Oh, you can. Yeah. Not during my session. So I'm picking up my stuff so that Carrie's not. Hi.
Is this all going to be available afterwards for us? The video?
That's not my department.
Gotcha.
Probably.
I didn't take any notes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do a walkabout here for lunchtime.
I'm excited to see.
Maybe after.